Quiet.
Hello and welcome to Focus on Fantasy Romance, episode number 29, a podcast where we discuss book genre industry and our geeky lives. I'm your host, Elle Klaus.
I'm ARD Clerk.
As Paulina Woods.
Ishabelle Torrey.
And today we are going to do a quick news update because it's the first Friday of the month, and then we're going to talk about alpha males versus alphaholes. So I'll go first with my news because I don't have a lot. I started a class called Write Better Faster. It's one of those Margie Lawson Writing Academy classes. It's a month long. And I hope by the end of it I can write better faster. And my only comment on the class thus far is I really feel they missed the opportunity to say write gooder. So that's my news. Amy?
I don't have a whole lot of news myself this time. I missed my personal deadline to finish Dark Star because I screwed up and I messed up my timelines. If anybody knows Takamo, you have to write within the game canon, and I effed up. And so I put some characters in my story down toward the end that really didn't know each other 10 years ago in the past. So I have had to erase that 8,000 word chapter and start all over again. So Dark Star's not done, but it will be close. I did, for any newsletter subscribers, I had promised them something special, and I started a Decopunk mystery series called the Franny Calico Mysteries. It's a serial. It appears every month in my newsletter, so newsletter subscribers get the new chapter every month. And I will eventually probably post it all for free down the line sometime once the thing is completely finished. But that'll be a long jaunt because it's going to be a chapter at a time. So if you want to read it as you go, subscribe to the newsletter. Other than that, there's not a whole lot going on. I'm just frantically trying to finish Dark Star and get it off to the editors. P, any news for you?
Yes, I'm crazy. Oh wait. See what's
That's
going
not
on.
news.
I've been in a funk lately, so I haven't even wrote anything in like 3 weeks, which isn't good. But I'll get back on the horse again. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh yeah, I started the gym every day for the last 2 weeks. I had to go 5 days a week. I've done it. My legs are in pain, but I feel the difference. My pants actually close now, and hopefully my goal is 40 pounds. So we'll see how that goes. That's my news. Ish.
I released my first full-length novel roughly 3 weeks ago, Maiden of Fire. I've got one raving review, so that kind of made my day, tickled my fancy to say. I am close to finishing a short novella called That's Redemption, so I'm hoping to have that done into the editors within the next couple weeks, time permitting. As far as personal, I have lost 9 pounds. Go me. Not exactly summer body ready, but it's a start. So other than that, been all about work and making word counts every day and starving to death. So that's it for me.
I should mention that I also let my husband's a personal trainer and a martial arts instructor. I finally let him train me, and I've never been so sore in my life. All I can say is I hate supersets. So our discussion today is alpha males versus alpha holes, where we think the line is. And I think this is going to be kind of really subjective. So I thought I'd start by actually kind of reading the definition of an alpha male. This is just off Google. An alpha male is a dominant male animal in a particular group. I run across a lot of alpha males because I write wolf shifter romances, but any type of male who is dominant over his field, like the billionaire romances. Those are oftentimes alpha romances. Obviously shifters, and I don't know. You can have alpha males in any type of trope. And then, oh, my cat's yelling at me. Lost my train of thought. So I don't suffer alpha holes very easily because they really kind of trample all over, I don't know, the heroine. And Ishabelle's going to go dictate a chapter. And so I think I mentioned in a previous podcast, I really like when the male character is strong, but he's reserved. And you can have a strong male character who's in full control of his body, emotions, surroundings, and he can still be an alpha male. I think there's this huge misconception with readers and writers what traits actually make an alpha male. Like, it says it's a dominant male in a particular social circle or whatnot, but a lot of people cross the line from dominant to like stalkerish or obsessive or jealous. And they give those attributes something positive because, oh, he's an alpha male. Like, no, if he wasn't classified alpha male, you would be saying, you know, these are all bad traits. I think the last book I read that actually had an alpha male sort was the Cressley Cole books, because they're werewolf shifters and vampires. And I think I tolerated Lachlan, the first book, The Hunger Like No Other, because he kind of got over his assholishness. Like, he realized he was being a tool, and he kind of redeemed himself towards the end. And that's what you want. You want a character that gets over his bad habits and grows and redeems himself. But a lot of the characters don't. Like, the female just kind of like, oh, well, that's the way he is, and I'm going to put up with him and love him. You know, like, no, you don't need to. Amy?
So, yeah, I'm not much of a reader of alpha holes, particularly. I usually won't finish the story if I kind of see that the character doesn't have an arc that's leading me towards like successful redemption, like wholeness that they have going on. I do like alpha males. I think that they have a place in certain stories and certain settings. I think that sometimes it has become a trend or a fad to write them and not think about the fact that within the hierarchy of human existence that there are men and even women who are not always a dominant personality. In a lot of my books, I have assertive males. They're not technically alpha males. They don't try to establish dominance over anybody else. They have friendships and they are natural leaders, but they don't say, you do what I say or I chop off your head. None of them are like that. I don't think I could write somebody like that because I would want the heroine to punch him in the face or kick him in the balls, and then that would be the end of that relationship. So I don't think I normally write that. I do like Cressley Cole novels. I love Gina Showalter novels. They do have an alpha male tendency. I love it when there's a reason behind this ultra protective nature that says, you know, my poor little female, I've got to make sure I take care of you. It's not just necessarily that they're a jerk, but they have this traumatic incident in their past where they didn't do something or they didn't save someone or they thought they could have done more. And then that leads on to this uber protective streak that goes on. But I do like to see some kind of resolution I guess, to that. I don't want their relationship to always be, you know, me man, you woman, you know, kind of thing. So yeah, so alpha holes aren't my thing. Not even that fond of alpha males in my own writing. Personally, I like beta males. I guess they're not really beta, but they're in a partnership with other males. Not so much at a lower level, but that everybody's on equal footing. So I guess that's pretty much how I prefer to write them. And I know a lot of people really like, they have a feminist thing going on. It's also a fad, a trend, or whatever, that the heroine has to be strong, kick-ass. She can wield as many weapons as the guy and punch as many faces and come away with bare and bloody knuckles. Not every chick is like that. I'm not like that. I'd be cool with it if my husband wanted to fight the bad guy. I mean, yeah, I might hit him with a chair or whatever, but if he wants to be the one doing the bloody work, that's awesome. I'm not saying that I wouldn't fight to protect the people that I love, but I'm not going to go out and start a fight. And I think we get alpha hole syndrome for female characters just the same as we do males. And it's just as annoying, and it turns me off just as much. And I think Elle's got a comment to that.
Well, I shared a previous guest, Chriselle and Riley. She has a blog post that I shared with the group, and it was really 10 things that get her to stop reading a book, and one of which was alpha males, and then the flip side was the female character, like opposite the alpha male. And she says that that technically it was character inconsistencies, but you've got an alpha hole, and you've got the female lead character who is, you know, tough as nails and kick ass until she meets the alpha male, and suddenly she can't do anything on her own. And, you know, for her own protection, the alpha male sequesters her somewhere, locks her in a room, whatever, to save her life. And she gets out because no man's gonna keep her down, and she's gonna go and run off and do something incredibly stupid, which is contrary to this intelligent, kick-ass alpha female that we've been introduced to. Just to be, I don't know, contrary. That seems to be a very popular plot device where alpha male or alpha hole meets a female who is perfectly fine on her own, but lo and behold, they get together. She becomes super dependent, can't function on her own. He locks her away, and then she gets out, gets herself in trouble, does stupid things, and he never develops past alpha hole, but she changes to compliment him. I'm like, no. The character arc is all effed up. So you haven't had enough whiskey. I'm filtering my cuss words.
Yeah, you need more liquor.
I'm run out of alcohol.
Yeah, it bothers me. It bothers me when a female is just as much of a dick as, the man is. And I'm all for feminism and saying that women are equal. But there are just as many different types of people in this world as there are, different colors in the sky or different, species on the earth. We're all different. Our personalities are all different. And we can't just keep writing the same old cookie cutter characters over and over and over again. Urban fantasy is one of those genres that has so many, gosh darn, women wielding, stiletto heels and a dagger in one hand and, kicking ass and martial arts. And that's awesome, but not every woman in the world is a demon hunter. Not every woman in the world is a kick-ass, witch. I think we need to learn how to break out of molds as authors in general and say, I really, really, really had this urge to write like a beta male romance where the guy is just a nice guy. He is literally just a nice guy. He just wants to live his life and go to work and have a family and be happy. He doesn't want to fight. He doesn't want to kick ass. He doesn't want to be in an adventure. He just wants to be happy and be finally free, and shit won't let him. So he has to finally just say, fuck it, and, let it all out. But he just doesn't have that, alpha hole mentality. And I really think that we miss that sometimes because it's a fad and it's popular and readers like it. But how do we know they won't like a beta male because we never write them?
I think also part of the problem is a lot of the authors go into writing their alpha male characters as wanting to save the world, and no true hero ever wants to save the world. They want to get their own shit done, but they don't set out to save the world.
No, it's a particular like point for that specific character that he wants to accomplish that has nothing to do with altruism or being Superman or saving the masses. He may want to save one person. I mean, like in Redshift, my character is very honest. He says, as long as I can get her back, the rest of the world can burn. I don't care about them. They're not my priority. I mean, she eventually talks him down because she's the smart one of the pair. He's extremely smart, but he's very narcissistic, and he cares about his little core group of people. And beyond that, he doesn't care what happens to the rest of the people. And a lot of people may see him as a dick, but that's very honestly how a lot of people in the world are. We all have tunnel vision. Our family, you know, our loved ones, not necessarily saving the world. So I agree with you. I don't think that's a huge deal. Paulina, what do you think about alpha holes?
Okay, so I think there's a fine line, because one of my favorite books is by an author. I started reading it as you talked, and I'm sorry. It's How My It's How My Name by Celia Kyle, and he's an asshole. Like he kills because his wolf wants to kill, and that's what he tells her when. And he's like he basically tells her, and my wolf says you're mine. He goes, you're gonna have to put up with it. And like she said, no, like she's not a lay down and be all submissive, don't get me wrong, but he's also one of my favorites because he protects her with everything in him, and he's a bear who becomes a wolf. He's a wolf who becomes a bear clan leader. But just the way he talks, and she says, the author, she says something that stuck with me. She goes, what did she say? She goes, the bear alpha is calm, whereas the wolf always has balls to the walls. And so I think that's the difference, is that if he's an asshole to be an asshole, like most of the billionaires are, or the bikers, who they're just an asshole because they're human and assholes. There's a difference in the paranormal world where they're not necessarily assholes. They're more animal instincts. So I think that's where I kind of draw the fine. I mean, that's where I say there's a fine line between it, because you can't put human emotions on an animal. So these people who are shifters, they run more towards the animal instincts than humans. Jennifer Ashley also has a series. Hers is like that too, where the males are very dominant. The males are they lay back until something happens, and you're like, oh my God, if he did that to me, okay, yes, cool though. I think that there's a fine line, and it comes with when you try to write human personalities, I guess you could say, over animal instincts. And so that's I can read an asshole who's really a shifter, because you're like, okay, he did this because in the wild that's what he would do. I'm a little bit more lenient, I guess I can say, when it comes to, but yeah, no, I don't really read billionaire books, because I'm like, there's not enough billionaires in the world for how many billionaire books are out, because if there was, I would have one. I think half the billionaires, they think, okay, they're assholes because they're in the what is it called? The boardroom. There you go. So I was going to say courtroom. But because they're in the boardroom, so they have to be alpha. They have to be. And I'm like, no, I've known a lot of businessmen who aren't alphas. They're just shiesty. The difference between being an alpha and being shiesty and a user, that doesn't mean that you're an alpha just because you know how to use people. So
what did you think of Sherilyn Kenyon's Werehunters? I think she did one of the best jobs of writing like animal nature with people nature.
Yeah, she did. She did an amazing job. I think Jennifer Ashley did a better job.
Really? I mean, Hunters isn't my favorite Sherilyn Kenyon. We all know that. But I
think she did a better job because of the fact that Sharon Kenyon, yeah, they're animals in human form, and that's how she uses it. Whereas Jennifer takes it a step further. Like, okay, a guy opens the door for us. The guy goes in second, right? He holds the door and you walk in. In Ashley's books, instead of that happening, Elle always walks in first. She doesn't wait for the female. And you watch how the female and the guys are like, what are you talking about? Why am I going to let you enter somewhere first? And it's kind of the same way, like when there's a fight or when there's something, who goes first? And so it's kind of like, you would think, like when I first read the very first book of hers, which was Mate Gone, I was like, he's an asshole. Lamb's an asshole. He won't hold the door for her. He doesn't do this. Like, they don't open the door and let you in the car first, nothing. They get in the car, hurry up. I'm like, why are you such an asshole? And then I thought about it. I'm like, wait, you're not really an asshole. Why would you let a female enter the house first? Why? And so why would you let a female enter the house? Why would you let your cubs enter the house? Why would you let your cubs go into the woods first? You wouldn't. So again, if you want to read alphas who are sort of assholes but still really adorable and cute, and you want to hold them and cuddle them, her Mate series is amazing, because it literally. It shows the males being strong, but the female shifters are not pushovers. And then even when they mate with the humans, they're not pushovers, but yet the male is always in control. So I like back a little bit on topic, I like my alpha assholes as long as it's not because of the fact that they're self-centered. Then let's do it. Ish, you have anything?
Okay. I'm being purdy. That's what I'm doing here. Speaking of pretty, look at my new eyeliner. Look at it. Okay, now that we got that out of the way. I think alpha holes versus alpha male is often confusing to some readers, and I say that because, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it because I just don't know how. I can't people well, but people get butthurt if they have an alpha male that does something they don't like. They automatically classify it as an alpha hole. They don't distinguish, that there is actually a big difference. Okay, you know what? So he told her he wasn't going to put his coat on a hanger. It does not make him a fucking alpha hole. Just, we get a moment there. It happens. I have been accused of writing alpha holes, and to a point I could almost agree with them, but I'm not going to. But to wish upon a Roman, Hadrian is an ancient Roman warrior. He has that personality. Okay, he came from an era where there was slaves, where there was servants, where there was, you are woman, I am, caveman, ugh. He came from that era. So of course he's not going to come into our modern world after living in that era and be like, I know you're tired, Lucy, but would you make me a sandwich, please? He's not going to do that. I'm sorry, that's bullshit. He's going to be like, I'm hungry. Where's my food? It's the way he was. He was not an alpha hole, not in my opinion, and apparently not in several other readers' opinions. Although I did have one comment that, said he was chauvinistic.
I loved your book. It was amazing.
Thanks.
It stayed the same. I love the fact that he didn't veer from the fact that he wasn't born in this era. Thank you.
But Lucy she didn't accommodate him. She just like, whatever. She still did what she was going to do, and that was that. It was just the way they worked. But was he an alpha hole? No. He was a product of his era. Now if I brought in to a contemporary and he was just some billionaire being like, woman, make my food, well then yeah, he's a fucking asshole. I ain't reading that book. That's borderline abuse. My husband told me, bitch, make me a sandwich. Guess what I'm gonna do? But he is far more than just an alpha male at the same time, because he does border that demanding nature. But once again, it's characterization. And that is the important part that I think a lot of people miss. It is the characterization of said alpha hole / alpha male. If you're going to write a strong leader, like say you're writing shifter romance, you can't have him be all like, all right, I'm the leader of the pack, roar. If that's okay with everybody, let's take a vote. It's not an alpha male. That's fucking an idiot. He's confused. Obviously, get somebody else. Clearly, So I think the biggest problem with defining an alpha hole and an alpha male is people's own prejudice to it. What do you define? Maiden of Fire, I've had a couple comments that my main hero, Jalamar, is an alpha hole. No, he's not. He's a product of his era, and he's duty bound. Yeah, he's persistent in telling Ramona, you're going to have to do this, because it's all he's ever known. He's duty bound, plain and simple. And she's like, you know what, fuck you, I ain't doing it, because she's raunchy and potty mouth. But anyway, it doesn't. I guess what I'm trying to say is it really is how you define. And of course, there is a set standard. Yeah, if you're going to write a contemporary romance, like I said, and be all like, make me a sandwich, do this because I'm a man, then yeah, you're an alpha hole and you're stupid and I hate you. But if you're coming from the past, or you're, a historical figure, a duke who is used to having women be subservient in that society, then yeah, you're going to come off as a little alpha hole-ish, because that's your era. You're a product of it. Now that I've rambled on, Amy.
Oh no, I think you made a good point about everybody's line that they have depending on what's considered an alpha versus an alpha hole. And I think that's true of any relationships that we're in, like in our real lives too. It's like some women will take more off a guy, someone will take more lip, and they'll deal with a certain amount more than another woman might. And I don't think that necessarily has anything to do with how strong or how weak or anything like that the woman is. It's just a basis on what she values and what she like. For me in my own relationships, yeah, sometimes my husband really annoys me or he makes me angry, and it's like matter in the scheme of things that he does this thing that bothers me. You know what I mean? So it all depends, too, you have to write those interactions between the characters so that they make sense. The reader has to say, yeah, this guy's being a jerk, but this woman is understanding of that, or able to take that or accept that about him and still love him, because she may see the goodness in him. She may see his, that's one of those things sometimes. And I'm not condoning he's abusive or anything like that, but I'm just talking about sometimes he's overly protective, or make me a sandwich, or whatever. Some people might not see that as being too much of an alpha hole, because he may have other redeeming qualities, so we as authors just have to make sure we don't get off kilter, I guess, with making it uneven, or making the character uneven. I think Paulina wanted to say something. Judging by the chat, I'm not sure who wanted to say something.
Yeah, I did. I was gonna say, like, going back to what you said about the personal life. Most people, like, honestly, who've met my boyfriend thinks he's an asshole. He is an asshole. And I'll tell people in a second. I was like, he's an ass. If you may, if he doesn't like you, or it, like, I swear sometimes I look at him like, why are you so fucking rude? But on the flip side, I can deal with him. Like, you know, like you said, like, some women can put up with it. He's not rude to me because they know I'll kick him in his balls. So I'm like, I don't need him tonight. I'll just kick you in him. So, and I say that to him a lot. I'm like, I'm tired. I don't need him tonight. He's like, but I needed to pee. I'm like, I don't, not really. So, I mean, it comes down to the fact that it is how you view it and how you want to look at it. I can honestly say I'm not that experienced in relationships. Yeah, go figure. I've had 3 boyfriends, and the first one wasn't assertive. I walked all over him on purpose, and then he cheated on me, and I threw his shit out the door. Then the second one, he was verbally abusive, honestly. And then now this one, and my friend's like, well, you seem to, like, you know, you gravitated, you kind of developed and grew, you know, what you could put up with. Well, there's a difference between the verbally abusive one and the asshole I have now. There's a total difference. And so I kind of, when I write into my books, I guess I come from both perspectives of seeing a guy who puts you down because he's insecure in himself versus a guy who's just crazy in the head. Whereas, like, okay, an example is my ex-boyfriend. He would go, I used to be like 200 pounds, like 200 pounds and fit. And my ex-boyfriend would go, well, why, like, he would eat late at night. And I was like, no, I'm trying to lose weight. Why? Are you trying to cheat on me? Who's the guy? Why do you need to? Why aren't you? And then I would feel I had to eat because I didn't want to cheating on him, which made me get bigger, which was stupid anyway. So, but like, just watching how he does. Sorry, Elle, what did you say?
Sorry, that was a control tactic.
Basically, I was stupid, and my best friend was like, I don't know how you did it because you're a strong personality. And I was like, honestly, I think I just slipped into depression and let it happen. But whereas my boyfriend now, and he'll encourage me, like, hey, you going to the gym today? I'm like, I'm tired. He's like, whatever, dude. So you want to go eat lunch? You know what I mean? Like, he's cool whichever way. He doesn't care. It's not something that he wants to bring up. But like, if I tell him, hey, dude, guess what? My pants aren't fitting. They're, you know, I actually lost enough weight to button my pants and I have room. And he encourages me. So I think that's the difference, is that even though he's an ass and I'm like, oh my God, how do I put up with your asshole self? He's still supportive of me. He has a daughter who loves him. He takes care of his bills. He does everything an alpha male does. Asshole. Whereas the other one was an asshole. So I guess I'm able to write from both perspectives, knowing the difference in real life between the two, which is amazing, but I don't suggest you go figure it out on your own. Just take my word for it. Being with a guy who puts you down and is an asshole is just not fun. When I got out of that relationship, I was like, oh my God. Like, he drove a big car. Like, okay, you know, you said stalker. I think not Ish. Oh, you said something about being stalkerish. Yeah. He used to drive by and I could hear his car because he had like one of those souped up cars. He would drive, what the fuck is he driving by like at 3 in the afternoon? Because I was off. He went to see if I had anybody over. So, and he said, you know, I'm like, why did you just drive by my house? Oh, you know, I just wanted to make sure you were home and okay. What? You can just text me and be like, hey, you know, how you doing today? That's what my boyfriend does now. He's just like, hey, I know it's your day off. How you doing? I'm good. I'm going to go to lunch. You know what I mean? Like, there's a difference between checking and making sure someone's okay and driving by somebody's house to make sure somebody's not in their parking spot to see if someone's at the house. So, again, two different, and I still ended up with an asshole, and he's a perfect asshole for me. So it's kind of cool to be able to write from both perspectives and know that women don't want assholes. They want a guy who will take care of them, who will let them stand on their own 2 feet, but will still, if somebody comes at them, they'll be there. And that's what you want. Except for if something bad happens, I have to try to outrun my boyfriend because he doesn't fight. But other than that, we're good to go. Hey, Ish, go ahead. Oh, come on. You all set up and everything.
Okay, I was just gonna say, and that's the big difference with alpha holes and alpha males and assholes. Anyway, there is clearly a more abusive side to, I think, a true alpha hole. Like Paulina just said, her boyfriend was driving by and stalking her just to make sure she was doing what she was told. That's fucking creepy. That is an alpha hole that's trying to be controlling. Alpha males aren't necessarily controlling. You know, they're more, they're supportive, but assertive.
They're confident that you're going to. They're confident in your ability to manage yourself.
Yeah, they don't necessarily, you know, freak out over your friend coming over. They don't, you know, like Paulina just said, they don't accuse you of, oh, you're trying to lose weight so you can get a new boyfriend and cheat on me. What? So I think that is really one of the big deciding factors. I think a lot of alpha holes that I have read do tend to have an abusive side, be it mental, physical, you know, of those sorts, even neglectful. And that is not good. So
I think it's also, you get just strong personalities. Like, when you have a strong personality, you need to be with someone who challenges you, somebody that you can't walk all over. I think a lot of these relationships that I see in romance novels, they've got one very strong personality that just walks all over the other one. The other one doesn't stand up for him or herself, and that, even if unintentional, is kind of abusive. And I see a lot of alpha holes that don't show any growth. They don't show any change in their behavior that would be more respectful to the person they end up with. A lot of it is the woman changes her opinion about something and they can have their happily ever after. I'm like, no, you kind of have to both change and meet in the middle. Otherwise, you're just an alpha hole. So, if anyone else has any closing comments, that was really all I had to say, and we've been rambling on for a little while. Okay, so we are on Google Play now, and we are back on iTunes. We have joined the Gumby Cat podcasting network, so you may hear a little bit more about them later, but you can not only watch us on YouTube, but you can find us on iTunes and, as I said, Google Play. So thank you for joining us. If you like the podcast, please like, comment, and share. This has been episode number 29. Have a nice night.
Good night.